and we now have the pleasure of being joined by the head ball coach for the USC Trojans, Lincoln Riley. Coach, I want to start right here. You were a quarterback in your day. Before you started coaching quarterbacks, you were a quarterback at Texas Tech. I got to ask, with your current quarterback room, not factoring in Caleb Williams, where do you rank in a crossbar challenge from the 20?
I like to think that I'd be up there pretty good, but my guys would probably disagree. So there's always some good competitive banter that continues to go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stacked room, to be fair. So I don't think there's any shame in falling somewhere outside of that top two. But when it comes to your time at USC, what would you say is the biggest adaptation you've had to make since taking that job?
Oh man, honestly, it's hard to narrow it down to one. Obviously doing it in a place like this in terms of being in an urban environment, being in one of the most powerful cities in the world, really kind of right at the heart of it, in a lot of ways has been really unique, really special. I think we're still learning more and more as time goes on about like how powerful that really is and like just all that really entails. But it's that part has been really fun. I tell you, being able to do it at and I've certainly been at some other really good schools, but being able to do it at a place that's got an academic reputation and a quality of education like this place is really really unique, really special, and I think something that really differentiates us and certainly has an effect on our day-to-day operation here, who we recruit, our valuations. I mean, all parts of it. Now we'll have been in two different leagues. Getting ready to go into a brand new facility. So honestly, a little bit of everything has changed here, but it's been a lot of fun the first 2 years as we've started to build this.
I mean, as a college football fan, I'm personally very fired up to watch what this new Big Ten is going to be between y'all, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, all playing teams like Ohio State and Michigan. What fires you up the most about making that move to the Big Ten? Has that changed at all the way that y'all have attacked this offseason?
I think the thing that excites you the most is what you said. It's the matchups, right? It's the new rivalries that are going to come out of this. It's you get forever and ever. The Rose Bowl has always been such a historic game within college football, and then you think of the great, traditional Pac-12 and Big Ten matchups and all the great games that were spurred out of that. Well, now you're going to have those matchups every single year. You're going to have them multiple times throughout the year. You're going to have them at different people's locations. You're gonna have exciting teams that you're bringing into your home spot. You're gonna go into new, really cool road environments. So I think just the competition week in and week out, a chance to be, a part of certainly, one of the top two college football conferences right now. I mean, I'm most excited about that. The challenge of the new coaches, the new schemes that you'll go against. I mean, all of it, man. I think the competitor in you just loves the opportunity that's coming up.
And I see the social media hashtag that y'all got going on, the USC football Twitter page, if we can still call it Twitter, like hashtag Competition Fridays. Is there a little bit of extra edge for y'all during this winter conditioning season?
There is, without a doubt. I mean, I think for us, taking the steps that we want to take going into this new league, taking the steps that we want to take with our roster now starting to build in a little bit more of a traditional way. I think obviously with so many of the new coaches, especially on the defensive side of the ball and really wanting to elevate our game on that side of the ball, I mean, absolutely there is. We got a great opportunity in front of us, but there's certainly an edge about this program. And I think honestly, I think it started even before this offseason. I think it really started going into our bowl game. And you saw the way that our team performed in that. And that team was pretty representative of the team that we have kind of right now, obviously with some new faces, but there's been an edge and an aggressiveness in this program since the day that the regular season ended, and we're just hoping to continue to build on that leading into spring ball.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned the bowl game. I was doing my best to get Heise Miller trending on Twitter when he was just throwing darts all over the place when Miller Moss had himself a day. Then you also went to the portal and brought in Jaden Maava from UNLV. What's the state of your quarterback room right now heading to spring ball?
Yeah, we're going to let the guys in the room compete. That's a hallmark of, I think, all the great quarterback rooms that we've had, the other great position rooms we've had. I think it's been a hallmark of this program for forever and ever. And so I think to be a starter at a place like USC, you've got to go compete. You've got to go earn it. And we want that to be part of every single position room. So no, why not do it at the one that, is kind of at the center of all of this? And so, yeah, absolutely. Those guys are going to compete. We feel like we've got great options in the room. We wanted to add a young guy that had some experience, that was able to come in and be a factor in the job right now. And Jaden certainly fit the bill there. And yeah, we couldn't have been more proud of the way that Miller really led the team, the program in a lot of ways into that bowl game and the way he played. So really excited about the room.
I mean, your quarterback resume is untouchable. I mean, Baker, Kyler, obviously Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts, what he's doing in the NFL. What does it take to speak quarterback so fluently like you do? What's kind of the secret sauce in your opinion?
Man, I think it's working with the right guys. Like at the end of the day, right? It's getting the right guys in the room. I think it's being able to adapt your systems or your beliefs to what these guys can do. Because all the guys that you mentioned had different skill sets, they had different strengths, different weaknesses. They had concepts that they liked, they had concepts they didn't like, and we've tried to be able to take ego out of it and just do what those guys do well and do what we feel like the skill sets around us will allow us to execute at a high level. And we've tried to stick with that. But great assistance through the years, some great quarterbacks to work with, and great surrounding cast, man. It's made my job a lot easier.
And Coach, you mentioned those defensive hires that you made, from Eric Henderson from the Rams to Dayton Lynn from UCLA, who's over across the street and now with y'all. What was kind of the process for you when it came to assembling this defensive staff?
Well, first, things like that are never easy. But the flip side of it is it does give you an opportunity to take a step back and really say, all right, where do we want this to go? And for us, the number one word when we were able to take a step back, and even before we started looking at specific people, it was, all right, from systematically, where do we want to go? Philosophically, where do we want to go? And the big word that kept sticking out to me was development. I just think it's, in this day and age, with all that's changed, I really feel like that can be one of our many advantages here. And so we really try to go after guys that we thought were just completely elite at developing defenses, defensive players, individual position groups, and all of the guys you see that we hired. You mentioned Coach Lynn and Coach Henderson, obviously, Matt Entz, Doug Belk, all of those guys had a phenomenal track record in being able to develop, and really just the pieces kind of started to come together. And as you can see, we shot for the stars. I mean, we did not take anybody off the table, whether conventional wisdom would tell you that you would have a shot maybe to hire this person or not hire. Like, we didn't worry about that. And we said, look, this is USC. Everybody's going to have some type of interest in this place. Now, do you get everybody? Do you not? We're not going to worry about that, but we're just going to go after who we feel like is the best. And we're really, really proud of, how the staff has come together. And now it's time to go put results on the field.
Yeah, and y'all have absolutely been aggressive, not just in hiring the staff, but also through the portal the last couple of years, going after double-digit guys so far in this portal cycle. What's your philosophy when it comes to balancing, acquiring the right guys through the portal, but then also recruiting the high school level effectively, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, our climb here has been different. You had to chart a path from day one when we got here. And one of our goals early was we need to become competitive early. And we felt like the best way to do that and gain some momentum was we need to flip the roster pretty quick. We need to be pretty aggressive in the portal. In the first 2 years, certainly we were very, very aggressive in the portal. I feel like we're in a little bit of a transition right now, starting to phase ourselves a little bit away from the portal and rely more upon these high school classes. You didn't have those when we first got here, and you can't go back in time and put those young guys in your program. And so while people have been seeing a lot of portal players and all of that on the surface the last 2 years, we've recruited 2 classes that we're really proud of, that kind of behind the scenes have been working and developing and getting better. You got to see a lot of those guys in the bowl game. So you're really starting to have kind of a true foundational classes that are starting to really grow within the program. And that's what we want to be certainly more of. I don't know that you'll ever be, 100% one way or another, but we certainly want to be a developmental program. We want to be a program that the majority of our guys start their career and end their career as USC Trojans.
Yeah, Coach, you talked a lot about, the foundation you're laying there at USC. And I have to believe in the day of NIL and also being in Los Angeles, one of the major cities, not just in the U.S., but in the world, there's a lot of things that I'm sure are grabbing at guys on your team's attention, on your staff attention. Is there more difficulty or more effort required to really solidify a culture in Los Angeles at USC?
You know, honestly, not really. I think there is a lot outside of here. There's a lot of great opportunities that are big advantages. I think it puts a premium on you as the coach and your staff as far as evaluators, bringing the right type of kids here that are going to use the advantages and not get caught up in anything that would take them away from their education or their dreams of playing ball. But yeah, I think the type of guys that we attract are typically guys that want to be great in both, that don't want to settle academically and don't want to settle on the field. And when you get high achievers like that, honestly, those guys are typically pretty fixated on their dreams, and they're between that and being busy enough. Typically, those aren't guys that are going to put themselves, in bad situations or put themselves in a position where they're going to get distracted. So, in some ways, it's kind of contrary to maybe what other people would think, but it's actually, I think, been maybe a little bit easier here. Some of those things are advantages, but I do think it's a big part that we've got to evaluate and bring in the right guys. You cannot overstate how important that is.
Coach, last question for you. We just watched Pat Mahomes win another Super Bowl, and your quarterback from last year, Caleb Williams, is getting a lot of comps to him. You worked with Caleb Williams, obviously, as close as anybody. Are those comparisons to Pat Mahomes, are those fair for Caleb at this point?
Well, there's some physical comparisons, no question. Both great athletes. Both have really lead arms, guys that can throw from all types of different platforms, can really do anything from a throwing perspective that you could imagine. Pat has won a lot more experience than Caleb up to this point. I mean, Pat played a lot of ball in college. Pat didn't miss a senior year in high school. And obviously he had he went into a great situation there in Kansas City, and then he has just done a phenomenal job. So Caleb certainly has some of the same physical tools, which is exciting because there's not many people that have that. But certainly to continue to climb to a guy like his level, there's going to be a big process there. So, I certainly wouldn't put it past him. Excited. Hopefully he can end up in a great situation and taking advantage of it anywhere to the level that Pat has done.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate all your time. We know you got a lot going on, but we're excited to watch all get after in the spring here and again, obviously, in the fall.
You got it. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.